Now, Creighton.
Yes.
Let's talk about the standings of the group and what this match means.
Yeah, because we're moving to a new group now, Group C.
We are in Group C now. So, right now, unfortunately, the whole internet is very saddened to say that Cass is 0-4. And he needs a win, not just to get some money in his pocket, but also, you know, for the ego. This group is still pretty top-heavy. There is a possibility it would be extraordinarily difficult. There'd have to be a whole load of stars that align, but Cass is not technically eliminated unless he loses this series.
Right.
Krystianer, on the other hand, is bang in the middle right now. He is in 5th place, only behind in map score to Goblin.
Yep.
At 4 and 5 in maps. He's 2 and 2 in series scores. So it's fair to say that for Cass, he's playing more for pride and $125.
Right.
But Krystianer's playing for his life right now.
Yeah, that's a great summation there, Grant. I was going to say almost exactly the same thing. Krystianer, this is a must-win game for Krystianer. If you go 2-3, it's just so difficult to claw back. And who are Krystianer's next 2 opponents? If we pop open that Group C, we can see that Krystianer not only has to play Koss now, but has to play Skillous after this, and then...
DNS.
DNS. That's going to be such... Wait, Krystianer? Yeah, DNS. Yes. So, 2 very difficult opponents coming up here for Krystianer, and getting a W on the board here wouldn't guarantee him in the top 4, certainly, but would put him well on the way. Krystianer has a very realistic shot of qualifying out of this group, Grant. And I don't think it's too hype to say that. I think genuinely, really does have a chance. Yeah,
he's had a pretty good tournament so far, you know, beaten some decent players. He did beat Goblin yesterday 2-0. His other win came against Lambo 2-1, so a big upset there. Krystianer, I said this very often, is sort of the king of online tournaments.
Yes.
He plays everything. He's very, very good at playing these tournaments. He's used to the format. He's used to everything, playing a lot, practicing a lot, plays more games than a lot of players. Cass is that grizzled vet. We talked about this in the last series. Sometimes you get the newcomer versus the grizzled vet. That is this. Cass been around for a very long time, started in Warcraft 3 in about 2007, 2008, so been around forever, and still qualifying for this tournament pretty well, usually in the 1st or 2nd round.
Yep.
He just can't seem to pull it all together in the actual tournaments.
Yeah, it's always interesting when the rubber hits the road, when everything's in the line. Cass, for the last couple tournaments anyway, has really struggled to put up big numbers. So really hoping we can, again, probably won't see him moving through this DreamHack event, but I expect we'll see him again. I think the next DreamHack event, I'm not sure if there are qualifiers for Katowice or not. I think that's all based on EPT points. So maybe not January, but DreamHack Summer. Yeah, maybe DreamHack Summer. We'll get to see him again, hopefully. The good news, though... Spring, sorry, if there's a spring event. Right. The good news here for Krystianer is that he's opened up with a pretty standard play. Blink Stalkers coming out. And you see that Twilight Council down first in a PvT. Almost never going to be Glaive Adepts. And Grant, can you tell us why that is?
Yeah, Glaive Adepts it's just very difficult. Terrans they naturally wall off every matchup anyway, so it's rare that you'll find damage. You do have to get a Prism drop in the main. And even then, Terrans just have so many units out early. Typically, they can have a tank that can deal with the light units that Adepts are very easily. But also, Blink is just very, very good. It's great offensively, but also defensively. If your opponent goes for a big push, using the mobility of Blink, you're able to pick up units very early. You can pick up the reinforcements. You can pick up everything you need to. Even just getting damage on a tank or picking up a tank, it completely takes the sting out of any attack. And it also... It translates very well into the late game. You want Blink Stalkers to deal with drops. Whereas Glaive Adepts, they'd be good for a 2-minute window, and then they are going to fall off massively.
I love that this is how bad Glaive Adepts are in PvT, is that, Grant, you can spend a good solid 45 seconds explaining all of the reasons, and there's still the most obvious and important reason why no one goes Glaive Adepts that you haven't even mentioned yet. Widowmine drop going to get spotted, by the way. Really nice pulse here from Krystianer, who's going to get both the Widowmines. Ooh, eats one shot there.
That's weird.
What'd you forget? Probes have 40 health. Drones have 40 health. SCVs, 45 health. It takes 3 Glaive Adept shots to kill an SCV, and only 2 to kill a drone and a probe. So another huge reason. Again, you gave all the right answers, and there's still more reasons to go Blink Stalkers first. Great defense here, though, by Krystianer, and Cass going to be really disappointed, only grabbing one 1 probe and 1 stalker kill. Not worth it for the drop. Luckily, he saves... Oh, he doesn't. I was going to say he saves the medevac, but he doesn't. Yeah, beautiful rotation there by Krystianer. And Krystianer already moving in to Robo Bay and Colossi from here. That's a very early Colossus there, Grant.
Yeah, I mean, everything is good. He knows he's not under any real risk right now. The Widow Mine drop was not just shut down, it was destroyed, killing the medevac even. Takes out the sting from this push, because now these Marines, and this is what I was talking about, the Stalkers outrange, they're going to poke, they're going to prod. As soon as they get into tank fire, they will just either walk or blink away after taking down a couple of units. And this push right now, if these Stalkers weren't here, would be sieging up at the 3rd base, but they can't. And already lots of Marines have gone down. We did see 4 probes go down to a Liberator, I believe. That Liberator is still alive as well, so doing a decent job. I think that's the only thing it could have been. I did see one was being made. Where is he? Liberator, yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure what killed 4 probes, to be honest with you.
Looks like
Liberator is now moving to siege up into the main, going to be dealt with ease here. We do have the push still here from Cass, but there's just no... the bark is worse than the bite with this push. There's no real chance of finding a lot of damage. 2 tanks are nice. The Liberator being here as well. Okay, that changes things a little bit. I quite like that. There is no extended thermal lance, right? No. But these Colossus really have to walk into range. We have a blink forward. I'd like to see the Colossus maybe targeted down. No, but a lot of probes going down here. The Liberator's doing a good job on its way out. But a nice cleanup when all is said and done here by our Protoss.
Yeah, really good cleanup there. And actually, I think that probably was a little bit tactical by Krystianer, leaving some probes in the line of fire. Of course, Liberators can do massive damage against Colossus. I think it only takes, what, 4 or 5 Liberator shots to kill a Colossus. So even if you don't kill it off completely, you can get some really good damage on those Liberator shots. Are so potent. So I think it might have been a little strategic there by Krystianer, who realized he had his 3rd base up a bit earlier than Koss, who realized his economy's probably fine. He's like, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice a couple probes here, leave him under the auspices of that liberation zone, and make sure that my Colossus and Stalkers stay strong. Picks off both tanks, and you said it earlier, taking out a lot of the bite of that attack with no... Ooh, jeez, that was a bit sloppy from Krystianer there to lose the Observer. But with the tanks gone, it's going to slow Krystianer, or slow Koss way down, keep him on 3 bases for a while, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to expand for quite some time. No 4th base yet, just adding on more production facilities, going strongly into bio. But as we say, Krystianer already those Colossi on the map, and Colossus now with extended thermal lance finished up, that ETL upgrade just gonna tear through Koss right now. Krystianer in a strong position. Yeah,
Krystianer getting his 4th before 8 minutes. He's not really had to deal with anything. Sure, he's lost 10 workers, but all the pressure has been off for a long time. He's been chronoing nothing but upgrades and workers. As you can see, his +2 is already on the way. That is ahead of the Terran, which is to be expected. But his Colossus count is great. He's got 3 already. He's not really made that many units. Only 8 Zealots on the field right now. He's just been able to get all his tech. We already have that Templar Archives on the way. We have a Prism on the way as well. Krystianer starting to fan out across the map as well. His vision right now, there is nowhere on the map Cass could go that Krystianer would not see. Just great control by Krystianer, and Cass is maybe, for my liking, being way too passive.
I don't think he has much choice. I think you're right. He is staying back a little bit. His army supply looks really good, but if you look at the army value tab, you'll see the players are roughly even. And the real problem is that when you're up against a Protoss player, the Protoss army supply can swell by 1,000 minerals immediately. If 1 round of warp-ins from those 8 warp gates that Krystianer has can swing the army supply and army value of a battle immediately. And of course, again, with the 4th base down, he's going to find himself in a really strong economic position. These Blink Stalkers going to poke away at Koss's army and prevent Koss from doing anything other than moving into a position to secure this 4th base. Krystianer finds himself in a beautiful spot here, trying to go for some Zealot run-bys, trying to get into the 3rd base here, and with all these units across the map, there's nothing in this 3rd base. This Zealot run-by could actually be pretty significant. Little drop here in the 3rd. Oh, forces a recall actually out of Krystianer, but it's going to move straight into the natural here, and the Colossus is here. Colossus should be able to take care of this pretty easily.
Yep. Marines dropping so slowly. The Colossus does deal with that before it can go down. One Marine is going to chase the Colossus away. Very brave boy. In a War of the Worlds like fight there.
Yes.
But we do have a push coming in now from Cass. This is an okay push, but there's no tanks. There's nothing to do with the backline. You can see these Archons have stood so strong, doing so much damage, and Cass's supply just plummets as the front line starts to die. Maybe we'll see a different fight, but there's too many Colossus. This is just, and I mean, that was just a complete stomp of a fight there for Krystianer, who did get +2. Now starting armor upgrades, everything going Krystianer's way. Did the Zealot run in? I guess it probably didn't.
No, Hasn't moved those boys in yet. They'll get there eventually, but luckily Cass is back home to defend against it now, so I imagine Krystianer will wait just a little while longer. The good news for Cass, and it's a very, very small silver lining, is this 4th base is up and running now. He's working on a planetary, and he's got some SCVs surrounding it there. So 4th base is up now for our Terran player, and of course Krystianer's not grabbed a 5th base yet, but again, the economy going to be slightly in favor of Krystianer, at least sustainably. Of course, Mules will dip that in favor of Cass just a little bit. But yeah, that fight at the 4th base was really unfortunate for Cass. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish there. It did look for a brief moment like he gunned down most of the gateway units from Krystianer, and usually that's a scary place for a Protoss player to be. You got 7 Colossus on the map, but no gateway units. Bad news. Those Colossi are going to eat a lot of tank splash damage and go down more quickly than you might expect from these big stompy tetrapods, as you like to say, Grant. But now the reinforcements are here. The gateways have been fired up. Disruptors on the way as well. And with Archons, Charge Lots, Blink Stalkers, and +2, this is a terrifying push from Krystianer. 119 army supply to 82, Grant.
Yeah, the one thing Krystianer doesn't have is he doesn't have a massive amount of gateway units to tank. And the Ghosts, if they hit an EMP, as they just have, very nice. I mean, these Zealots now cannot just commit because the tanks in the spread that they are will take down the front line very quickly. You can see Zealots being shaved off there. Few SCVs going down that run by. Finally, the trigger is pulled on that, and Krystianer able to find 6 workers. He will now retreat. Nice defense there from Cass, but a good run by here for Krystianer. The good thing right now is Cass is starting to get Ghosts, and he's done pretty well with Ghosts this tournament. No Liberators on the way yet. We are seeing a lot of Vikings being produced 4 at a time. I like that. So the Colossus count is massive. This push, though, the Colossus is very, very open, and a few Marauders down at the right-hand side are able to punish them, but there's just too much Protoss here, Creighton.
Man, even if Krystianer trades inefficiently here, Grant, which I think he's going to do, he's going to lose all these Colossus eventually. Oh my god, is he not going to lose all these Colossus? Are you kidding me right now? Well, there are Vikings, of course, and no sentries, or very few stalkers here. Yeah, just a few, but they got a focus fire on the Vikings. There we go. He's going to stay alive here. Unbelievable. But yeah, a lot of Colossus going down. Not the most efficient fight for Krystianer. If you open up the army value graph, you can see a much more efficient fight for cost there, but the bank for Krystianer is enormous. He's working on a Dark Shrine. He's finally getting another Warp Prism out here to support these pushes, and with 10 more SCVs going down, Krystianer is happy to make that trade every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Still 2K, 1K in the bank. Our Protoss player just in such a strong place.
Yeah, now he finds a flank on the army as well, separating the reinforcements from the main force. Colossus may be a little bit open here. A couple will fall pretty quickly, but the blink to the other side here to deal with the bio. There's too much Protoss, not enough Terran. It looks like Krystianer will be able to take map 1. He will be pushed back now, but with a reinforcement of 7 Zealots on the way. GG is called. Krystianer picks up the first map of the series.
Very clean win from Krystianer. You know, Grant, we've seen a lot of very sloppy games today from a lot of different players that I would expect to play a lot more cleanly. I'm thinking back to some of our previous matches here, particularly that Vanya Gung Fu match was really rough, sort of back and forth. Even the Max Pax Acheron, a bit rough and tumble on both sides. That was one of the first games we've seen all day that has just been clean from start to finish. Krystianer executing his build very well, defending very well, pushing very well, and just getting all his timings, all of his fights, just absolutely perfect here. A little interesting to see him going so heavy on the Colossus. I can't remember the last game I've seen with 7 Colossus on the field, or 7 Colossi on the field. But you know what? If it works, Grant. Yeah,
definitely. It's not something you see every day. It is very counterable. But I feel like Krystianer just had the pace of the game in the palm of his hand the whole time.
Yeah.
Cass was never able to make much work. He tried a couple of things, but nothing ever stuck. I'm surprised Cass just doesn't seem to drop very much, which is a shame, because I think when you play against an army with 7-8 Colossus, it isn't mobile. Blink Stalkers, of course, are okay, but if you can find some good drop positions, it's not like there's Phoenixes. It's not like it's not like there's a lot of Warpins available, because that's a lot of supply locked into those Colossi. But yeah, it just too solid a game here from Krystianer. And Cass maybe needs to adjust a little bit here. We've seen him do a couple of like proxy marauder builds and stuff like that. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see some aggression. Cheeky. Something cheeky, a little aggression from Cass would be really, really nice here in game number 2. Something to allow him to grab control of the game and sort of prevent Krystianer from just playing the game that Krystianer wants to play. As you said, Krystianer, an online tournament sort of champion. He's used to facing up against players that prevent him from getting stuff. You know, in an online tournament, I feel like it's a little bit easier to cheese a little bit. If the stakes are a little bit lower, players are more likely to drop a triple proxy racks, you know, something. So Krystianer going to be really well prepared for that. And if he's allowed to get into the mid game, into the late game, he's just going to steamroll his opponent. Just going to do a phenomenal job. So game 2 going to be on Romanticide LE. Again, a strong map, I think. Not particularly for one race. It just feels like the player who takes advantage of the map is gonna take a win here. If you fail to mine out the minerals, if you take a 4th base or a 5th base at a weird location and don't defend it well. Just a lot of opportunities for players to showcase their skills here on Romanticide. As we get into it, Grant, what is your head telling you? Is Krystianer going to pull this out 2-0, or is Cass going to come fighting back?
No, I think Krystianer, I failed to see the way that he played last game. It seemed pretty flawless in the way that he did it. There was never a moment where I was like, well, maybe. It just didn't ever happen for me. I feel like Krystianer was just too solid. He was allowed to play the way that he wanted to play. And by the time he got his army fully established, there was no way Cass could beat it. His Vikings were too late. His ghosts were okay. He got that big EMP on the Zealots, but he didn't punish.
No.
And unfortunately, like 100 Colossi there's no answer for it.
I mean, Vikings, but we didn't see any of those, did we? Just hardly any. Let's hop into game number 2 here and introduce our 2 players spawning in that bottom right-hand side of Romanticide LE, representing Ukraine and Starcom Gaming. It's our Terran player, Cass.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side, representing Blazer, he is the Red Protoss player from Poland. It's Krystianer.
Sick. What a sick matchup this has been, Grant. Just phenomenal to see these players playing so well. I'm a fan of Krystianer. I know he's got a bit of a reputation as sort of a bad boy of StarCraft 2. Yeah. A very emotional young player, but goodness gracious, if he doesn't show us some fantastic games now and again, I'm willing to forgive a lot of emotion in a young player that comes out with such passion. So very exciting stuff, and I'm glad to see him fighting so hard. As we said in the pre-show, Krystianer, this is a must-win for him. He's got to pull out here. And a 2-0 will be really nice because, of course, as we get closer and closer to day 6 and day 7, that map score is really going to start to matter, especially if you're in the middle of the pack. Look, if you're Rainer, if you're Clem, if your score is 5-0, 6-0, maybe 6-1, 6, even 5-2, your map score is not going to matter all that much, right? But if you're in the middle of the pack, sitting at 2-2, 3-2, 2-3, any of those very difficult sort of gnarly middle of bracket situations, the map score can come down to matter a ton. I recall, I think there was one group even in DreamHack Fall, and I don't remember which group it was because it was years ago, but DreamHack Fall, where it came down to head-to-head, where the match score was the same and the map score was the same. So the admins had to then look at the head-to-head of the players. Like, every map matters just so much. Nice snipe.
Yeah, Reaper getting that first probe is always nice. There's now going to head across the map, get a bit of information here, but the Adept will be out, so the Scout will probably go down. In terms of tech, nothing gone down just yet here for our Protoss. I'd expect the further the tech goes, the more likely it is that we will see that Twilight Council. Usually if you go for a Stargate, you go for that very, very quickly, either immediately after or before warp gating your first unit. Twilight Council goes down as anticipated. Nice. Reaper gets in here, maybe able to find a kill. That'd be very, very nice if he can. Actually, there's no answer as the Adapter's gone across the map here. Is he going to be able to get a couple? No. Stalker will come out.
Away. Or Stalker, pardon me, not warped. I said warped in. Warpgate research is not finished yet. Stalker building.
Walked in.
Walked in. There you go. If you have a British accent, they sound similar, don't they? Walked, warped. I don't know. That was Boston. I can't do accents. Boston? It definitely did.
I'm walking here.
That's New York, but good try. Yeah. No, you gotta go. You gotta watch Good Will Hunting for the Boston accent.
Oh, I do love that film.
Gonna have a problem here? You want to take this out back and we get it?
Well, that's quite good.
Because if we're gonna have a problem, we can go out back. Anyway.
Mistake there from
Sorry, I lived in Boston for like 2 years, and I'm always eager to show off the only accent that I can like halfway do. It's still terrible. Yeah, bit of a mistake from Krystianer there, losing the Adept. Even though he does slow down the natural just a little bit more, that was his second SCV kill that slowed down the natural. I still think it's a bit of an overextension from him. Really didn't need to sack that Adept just to slow down the CC for a little bit longer. The good news for Krystianer though, he's going for a Robo and a Dark Shrine back home. Looks like some Archon pressure might be in the field here soon for Krystianer. This is something we haven't seen for a while out of our Protoss players, Grant.
Yeah, I think DC's a nice one. You're up a map to go for that. Of course, you're always safe with the backup of going for the Archon drop. Not too common against Terran, as typically Marines move quicker with Stim. But Cass actually has adjusted. I think Krystianer's sort of metagamed himself here, because Cass is expecting it all night.
Oh, can't Reaper grenade a warping in unit, can ya? Wow, that was so big brain from Krystianer. Sorry, Grant, go on.
I like that. Cass is expecting to be playing against Colossus, excuse me, early, so he has gone for the Raven.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of a mistake. Well, not a bit of a mistake, but a nice counter play by Cass there. The Raven already out. Now, of course, there are a few Blink Stalkers on the map. If he's somehow able to draw that Raven out of position, or if Cass makes a really aggressive play and maybe goes for an auto turret harass at the natural, then there's a possibility something good could happen. But as you said, with the Raven out for Cass and, well, no second Raven on the way, so just the one Raven, DTs won't be super effective, but Archons still will, Grant. Archons are so scary this early in the game.
Yeah, the Raven now sees the DT. It will immediately be targeted down, and that's a big loss here. A few workers going down in the main. That's nice hit for our Protoss player. I've got such bad hiccups.
That's all right. It's tough when it's tough when you got hiccups, but it's really tough to deal against these multiple DTs. The Marines and tank in the main base, the Raven and the natural. He's got to rely on an auto turret to drive this back, but he doesn't have the barely has the energy for an auto turret now. But 10 SCVs have gone down, Grant, against a Terran player with a Raven. The DT in the main still alive. What? What? DT in the natural coming back as well. Missile turret being built, but the Raven can only be in one place at once. The Raven cannot be in two places at once. What does it think it is? An adept? Raven in the main base now, and with the missile turret finishing up in the natural, that should end all of the aggression here from Krystianer, but still, 11 SCVs is a bridge too far. That's way too much, Grant. Grant, you're muted again, buddy. I think you muted yourself for a hiccup, and now I can't hear you.
I did during my hiccups.
There you go.
Krystianer now moving into Archon pressure. He's going to be able to use that Prism to drop them. They trade very, very well against small groups of Marines and Marauders. And this is nice. I really like the way that Krystianer's playing. The DTs shouldn't have done as much damage as they could. Cass did have an answer, but Krystianer was able to split them very nicely. In this game, he's already killed 17 workers. That's insane damage. He's at almost double the probe count right now, Creighton. And as his army gets stronger, we see Zealot Charge on the way, +1 on the way, Colossus production in full flow. I'm very, very worried for Cass already.
3 base Protoss, 2 base Terran, just Cass getting hamstrung at every opportunity. It's not that it doesn't feel fair, it just feels like a beatdown here. Krystianer has just done everything right, and this is what we said at the end of game number 1, right, is that, well, despite not pulling his probes a little bit late there, so 2 probe kills, maybe even 3. Oh, no, he's going to get the classic. There it is, 3 kills.
No.
Make it 4. Okay, not bad there. And it looks like the main base is going to continue as well. Another little pull from Krystianer. But this is the first time, I think, in 2 games, Grant, that we have seen Krystianer do anything that I would classify as a out-and-out mistake. 10 probes completely, which is great, but look at the worker count down here in yellow on the bottom ribbon. 40 to 52. Krystianer so far ahead still, yeah. Grant. No third base coming out from Cass at all. He's got to go all in on 2 bases here. What is he waiting for? +1 to finish up?
Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of. The problem is he's using all of his Raven energy now, so he's not going to have like an anti-armor missile. He's not going to have any interference matrices for the Colossi. There's already 1 Colossus out. Yeah, but the second one about to pop. ETL, extended thermal. Yep, ETL is already 90 or 75% done. +1 is close. Our Protoss army is just stronger. His economy is stronger. His upgrades are good. These auto turrets have been nice. They've been cute. They found some good damage. Killed a lot of workers here, and will continue to do so. But now, what's he going to do against the Colossus? This army is very Colossus-able.
Very Colossusable indeed. Of course, there's no Phoenix out, so these tanks are actually going to be a pretty significant factor. But as you said, charge is finished up here. These charge lots can jump on top of the tanks right away. More charge lots going down. 8 SCVs getting picked off. That wasn't even a drop. That wasn't even a warp in, Grant. Those were just they were just walking in like they owned the place.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You nailed it. Finally. Those New York Zealots get into the natural. And I love this, though. The minerals mined out here, so smart from Krystianer. What did we say at the beginning of the game? We said the player who plays the map is going to have a distinct advantage. And Krystianer realizing that, hey, if tanks siege up on the other side of these minerals, there's nothing my charge lots can do about it. It's like Golden Wall when tanks would siege up on the south side of the wall. But now he's going to go in through and cost way out of position, not able. Sometimes you can catch the Protoss in a choke point here, but this Terran army, rather, is just going to get ripped apart. Ripped apart, Grant.
Colossus in the back, no answer for them. GG.